Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you all for tuning into the show. I got my crew with me, Darnell and Tyler. I'm Trey, and we're coming your way with the 60th edition of the Don't Kill the Messengers podcast. About to start off just like we did last week with some more NCAA basketball. This is going to be the key content of the show this week. Guys, just started off. How those brackets looking?
Considering Darnell and I both had Arizona winning it all, at least our champion's still in it. Yeah. Sorry, Trey.
I'm screwed.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I'll let you down.
It's a wrap for me. Yeah, I had Nova winning it all. So that just alone by itself, I'm through right there. So might as well not even look at the bracket no more. But,
yeah, you're not alone. A lot of people got hurt on that one.
Yeah, but I would say between them and Duke, a lot of people put it in the garbage. So I'm not a bad pick. I mean, it's not like Villanova was a bad team. People are wondering what you're doing. I think, what'd you say, Darnell? They were the second most picked team to win it all.
Yeah, I think that's what for ESPN's channel, at least. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's cool. I mean, Villanova, I had them in my Final Four for our bracket. So, having three of your Final Four still in it, the Sweet 16s, I mean, the goals have all four, so very rarely do I ever get all four in there. I think once I got all four and then missed out from there, but yeah, my bracket's okay. Yeah. I wouldn't brag about it, but the national champion, right?
You do. Let me ask you this, man, because we're gonna talk about Michigan a little bit later, man. But for your Michigan bracket, how's that one looking? That's your best one, or?
Let me just check that real fast. Okay. I mean, no, that is actually not my best.
Okay.
That one I currently have at the 72nd percent. I have one that's in the 90th percent.
Oh.
I mean, on that one, I had Duke winning it all there, but I just have a lot more right on that one. Like between the South and the West regions, I only picked one game incorrectly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not like that one counts for much because it's not with us. But hey, the bracket I have Michigan winning it all in's that great of a bracket. So
yeah. Now, who did you have them playing in the finals? You know,
I had them playing Villanova. So
okay, yeah. So
not happening.
Alrighty. All right, guys. This is
who's your Final Four in ours, Ty?
In ours, I have. Let me just get that back up. I had Villanova, but then Arizona, Kansas, North Carolina.
Okay, so we had the same Final Four outside of Baylor.
Yeah, you have Baylor making it in, which I was telling you a little bit ago. That's a pretty decent pick, especially and Villanova being out. That kind of makes them top dog left in that region. Yeah, I mean, it makes them top dog left in that region. Personally, I think the only team. I mean, I think South Carolina, I think that'll be a really good game. South Carolina's just kind of hot right now, but if they win that game, you know, I think they would just or be way more athletic than Wisconsin would be, and I think that would allow them to win that game, as long as, you know, they just don't get crazy, overly athletic and just end up not playing basketball. Yeah. But I think Florida would match up with Baylor pretty well. So it'll be interesting. First of all, they got to win that South Carolina game, but I think it'll be interesting to see kind of what happens in that region, because that region is definitely the outlier, the only one without a 1 or a 2 seed in the Elite Eight. I mean, the South region played out perfectly, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then that West region has 1, 4, 2, and 11. So that East region is kind of the odd one out, and definitely one that has a lot of eyes on it for sure.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys, for last week, do you guys have like a favorite game that you saw last week, that one that just sticks out to you guys the most that you watched?
One that sticks.
Go ahead. You got
it. Yeah. Personally, I really really liked the first game of the tournament, the game that started it all off. Notre Dame versus Princeton. Well, that was one heck of a game.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I mean that game was back and forth. No team really ran away with it, and Princeton had a shot to win it right at the end. I thought it was in. It was right on track. Just went over the rim. Yeah, I really enjoyed that game. That game was, just one that I texted you guys quite a bit about. But personally, I think through the first couple of rounds, there weren't really a ton of games that were just kind of like, wow, that game was great. We didn't have many of those moments so far in the tournament. I hope we get a couple as we move forward. I mean, there were close games, don't get me wrong, but none of the games really wowed you.
Yeah, there's nothing where it was like crazy back and forth where you're just like, wow, these are some like haymakers getting thrown back and forth. But there was fun games though. Like you brought up, Notre Dame Princeton was a good one. Scoring, another lower scoring game. I enjoyed Northwestern versus Vandy.
Yep, that was really good.
What was the other one I was just going to say? Michigan, Oklahoma State.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would even say one that kind of, I don't know, the end result didn't really show how close the game actually was, but that East Tennessee State versus Florida game, East Tennessee State came out hot, and Florida had to fight to get back into that game.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
As well as Virginia versus UNC Wilmington. Same thing. Mm-hmm. Both the lower seeds got way out in front, and the bigger school had to fight back. So, seeing a team really kind of grind through a game and come out victorious in the end is fun to watch, even though you're just praying that it doesn't blow your bracket on the first day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just some, just overall, just pretty good games, man, that I checked out. Like, just to get back to my bracket, like I was feeling pumped, the first day, cause like all my teams have won on the first day. So I was like, dude, this bracket about to be easy, man. I filled out everything right, man. It's about to be a piece of cake. Walk through. Soon as the second day came here, I was like, shit. I was like, man, I mean, dude just losing left and right. And, like I said, Villanova losing. I was like, yeah, this is not easy as it seems. So I was like, dang.
Never is.
So yeah, man, just that first day, I picked all those guys right. I was like, yeah, this is going to be easy. And everything went downhill very quickly from that and on. So yeah, but it was just very entertaining to watch, man. Especially Michigan went again into a little bit of them too, how they played against Oklahoma, and I was really surprised with how they played against Louisville. With that one, especially like you guys were talking about the threes and everything going on there, they weren't really popping a lot of threes in that game, and they still came out there and won against a tough Louisville team. So just like I said, just great games to just watch. And looking forward to what's going to be happening to tomorrow and beyond. So now to talk about this Vanderbilt game. It was a pretty good game, but at the end of the game, one of their players made a bonehead play. Just want to get your guys' opinion on that. Was this the worst screw up in March Madness history?
No.
Yeah, I was going to say, because it's the first round, I can't go that far.
Yeah, first round.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel bad for the kid, fouling when you're up a point. Like, that's a lack of awareness. So,
yeah, Darnell, just real fast, just kind of recap the moment.
So it was a tight game. Looked like Vandy had set themselves up to win. To go up 4 seconds left.
There was only a handful of seconds left, yeah.
But then Northwestern inbounds and a quick foul happens. Thought process is they were still down one, and Northwestern goes and hits their 2 free throws, goes back up one, and it's basically game over because Vandy didn't have enough time to get back down court and get a real shot off.
Yeah.
Feel bad, but them's breaks.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember just being like you do feel bad for the kid, one, because he really knew the situation. He wouldn't have made that play. He just was unaware of what was happening. But then you're just kind of like, this is the stuff that makes the tournament what it is.
Yeah, it was definitely just one of those heat of the moment. Like, he just did not really know what was going on in that game. He was playing hard, and he thought they were still trying to struggle to win. But
I mean, but I guess to answer your question, Trey, if you were to have a top bonehead play moment, that could crack the top 10.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that could crack the top 10, maybe even crack the top 5. I'd have to go through and kind of remember a lot of the plays. But, I think Darnell will fall in line with me with a gentleman named Chris Webber.
Yeah.
Calling a timeout.
Go there.
Yeah, calling a timeout. You don't have one. North Carolina sinks a couple free throws. I mean, in my opinion, I think you don't get any worse than that. I mean, then there's the whole story of someone on the bench was saying call timeout. Someone on the bench called the timeout. What it was, I mean, that was the national championship game. And that was game on the line. that would be number one, hands down.
Yeah. And just to clear it up, there was actually some time left, but there's 14.6 seconds left when the foul was made by Fisher Davis. But just terrible circumstance for a
and I'll even kind of take the other side of the argument here and say, okay, so Fisher Davis makes the foul, but why does Vandy come down with, like you said, what was it, 14 seconds? Yeah. Why did they come down with 14 seconds and throw up a 34-footer?
Yeah.
The lane was wide open. They had the floor spread out, and they still jack up a shot where the percentage is very low, and you only needed 1 point.
Well, yeah.
So, I mean,
there were a couple situations during the tournament. Like, Trey came over, and we watched some games on Sunday, and there was a game we were watching where, I was pointing it out, just in a last-second situation.
Wichita?
Where you had a chance.
Yeah, I was like, give him a break, man. I was like, for real?
Well, it comes down to coaching. How do you not call a timeout and set up a play? Or while the kid's shooting free throws, how do you not, have your point guard come over and, get one of your sets set up so you get the best possible shot instead of just run down court and do something? That's terrible coaching, too.
Yeah, but there's kind of two schools of thought there. Some coaches like the timeout and to get it set up. Other coaches like to just let their players handle it. And there really are those two kinds of coaches. I mean, I've seen where Calipari just lets his players go. Izzo has had times where he just lets his players go at the end of the game, doesn't call the timeout. And yet there are other coaches like John Beeline will call the timeout almost every time,
well, I feel
95% of the time.
Even if, like I said, even if a timeout is not called, you have a set that you know you can tell them. Yeah. I mean, speaking for Izzo, he's the king of where you're going to get a good shot. It may not go in, but you're going to get a good shot. And I feel like as a coach, you should have situations like you should have some back pocket for that. Where, throw up a number at your point guard and they know what to run and they can call it out.
Yeah, and
get it done.
Yeah, and I completely agree because kind of what we're just saying. And most of those times, a point guard's dribbling for 12 or 13 seconds before he even makes a break for the basket, and he doesn't even look at the coach. He's fighting off, and he'll throw up a prayer.
Yeah,
no need for it at all.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff. Now we're gonna get to just just real quick. How pleased are you guys with the just refereeing in this tournament so far?
Overall, I'm good with it, but we had end of game situations, of course.
Yeah.
You know, you had you had the Northwestern Gonzaga game after, Northwestern getting 2 free throws to beat Vandy. They get I mean, I won't say they got screwed since they were still trying to come back, but, a definite goaltend that wasn't called, and their coach ends up getting teed up for it. And that was just terrible. And then you have situation with the flagrant foul being called in the
Seton Hall.
Was that Seton Hall? Seton Hall game where it was a hard foul. If you go by the reading of the rule, I guess it was called a flagrant, but kid tripped over his own feet. He didn't actually fall down from being pushed, and just you don't like it being settled like that, especially off blown calls.
Yeah,
they're calls that like a foul being called in that situation, since the kid was trying to foul him, make that call. I don't know about a flagrant where they don't get a chance to touch the ball, and then Western situation, a clear goaltend like that, like you get, and you tee up the coach as well.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I have more trouble with that Northwestern call. I mean, one, you have a ref under the hoop, and you have to see that. Like, that's not even a judgment call. Like,
no,
that is
you can't go through the rim and block somebody.
No, like that is the rules, clear as day. Ever, the one positive that we got from that was the Northwestern kid.
Yeah,
on gifts everywhere. Yeah. He is the one positive we got from that moment.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
the Seton Hall call, I had a big problem with that being flagrant. I'm just kind of like, you're reviewing the call, seeing, yes, it was hard contact. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say it was hard contact because I mean, like you said, the dude was kind of himself falling into the guy. The guy was trying to foul him. It kind of looked worse than it really was. I understand that a ref needs to do his job no matter what. If it's a flagrant foul, it should be called a flagrant foul. But it's just hard. It is so hard to see. It's the end of the game. It's really close. A ref's like, all right, 2 free throws and the ball. It's like,
well, but that one was even worse for me because it wasn't like the instinctual first call from the ref. They called it a common foul at first. Then they reviewed it and came out and said it was a flagrant. And it was like, wow.
Yeah.
I know you got all the views there. You did see this kid just tripped over himself, right? You're calling this a flagrant.
Yeah, like, do you think that in a moment like that, and I know I just said, a flagrant needs to be a flagrant no matter when it happens.
Yeah.
But do you think at a time like that, refs need to realize game situation?
Yes.
Like, now I'm saying if they take his head off, I mean, yes, call the flagrant too, eject it. You know what I'm saying?
That's the thing.
But the thing is, you're like, okay, it's hard that you're in. It's a close game. Let's just make it a common foul. Like,
well, that's where I'm getting at with it. Like I said, if you have to review it, like, and you have clear footage where basically to make it a flagrant, you have to go just letter of the law, like, and from behind, his arms extended, hard enough push realistically to make a guy fall, but his legs got crossed. That's a bit much. I mean, I guess I can't say the ref was wrong since he made the by the book correct call. Like there should be more discretion given, I guess.
Yeah. And I'll even kind of add to your point, and it's not like it was even a quick review.
Yeah.
It took a few minutes, and they still changed the call. It's like, if you're looking at it for that long, are you looking too much into it? Personally, I thought they were.
Because, I mean, they said the kid made a bad motion for the foul. He should have been trying to rake for the ball, but he knew it was the mistake, so he was just trying to get to the kid and make a foul. Should be able to get that. I mean, you could see in fast motion, you could see he wasn't trying to, like, hurt anybody. He was just trying to stop the clock so somebody shoots some free throws so he can get another chance at scoring.
Mm-hmm.
And just, I feel like a little more leeway needs to go to the ref, that they made that call just because they were going, hey, his arms extended. It was a push. It wasn't all, so technically it's a flagrant. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to give the ref the benefit of the doubt, saying that's how they came to the decision. Apparently, you need to give these refs more leeway to go trying to do anything malicious. He was just trying to stop the clock at the end of the game. So shoot your free throws. Yeah. Play on.
All right, up next, we're about to get into Darnell's squad, Michigan State, Spartans. How pleased were you with them this season, man? Just considering, I know you was telling me when I was over your house the weekend, about some key guys they lost before the season started and things like that. Just how pleased are you with this team, with their performances?
I mean, of course, you'd like. I would like to see them go further, still be playing in the second weekend, but yeah, I can't really at this season that they had. Having to, like, I'm not using the freshman thing as a or anything because, Kentucky every year is playing with multiple freshmen, and so I mean that I don't think is a big issue, but the injuries did hurt the team. To lose Gavin Schilling, they lost our big man that would have been another freshman starting, but it would have been another body who would have been able to use and have come in and do some things. Those type of things hurt. So if you throw out there, you get out, and that's what happened basically going into the tournament. They came up against Kansas, a lot more depth, a lot more talent. So they stuck with them. They hung with them for 3/4 of the game, but then you could see, it turned out to be depth and being able to run fresh guys out there and more athletes that we just didn't have enough to contend with for a whole game. That was just the way that went.
Yeah, I would agree. I thought for 30 minutes, Michigan State was really in a pretty good position to where if they could just grind out 10 more minutes, they might get an opportunity at the end. And I was a little surprised that they hung, quite honest with you. But big thing for Michigan State was they're most likely going, I believe Nick Ward's coming back. I don't see him going anywhere. Yeah. I don't see Langford going anywhere, and I don't see Winston going anywhere. And those are 3 very solid guys that you can just build on. 2 more years, most likely. I think Ward can develop well enough in the next 2 years to leave after his junior year. And I think he was probably the nicest surprise out of all of them. Because I know we talked earlier this year, he was the one you weren't talking about.
Yeah.
I thought he was, Bridges is Bridges, but I thought Nick Ward was the most solid, most dependable, as long as he stayed out of foul trouble.
Yeah, for sure. He was the cherry for us. Like nobody, he was the least heralded of this freshman class that we brought in. Nobody expected him to be what he was. So, I mean, just the talk is imagine him actually being able to play the 4 and not have to guard 6'10" to 7'2" people every game.
Yeah, I mean, and I know I was telling my brother this. I was going to score his 15, 18, whatever points. But I was like, Nick Ward's the one on that team that scares me the most because Bridges is going to do it. Mm-hmm. Or is he going to go off for 15 to 20 on you and really hurt you? I mean, is he going to get your players into foul trouble? Because honestly, I was real impressed with him this year. He plays, especially on the offensive end. I mean, I think, just playing defense is tough. I don't blame him for getting into foul trouble because teams attack him because they want to get him off the floor for his offensive ability. So personally, I think just Michigan State going forward. I know they're bringing in a big 5-star recruit. Forgot what his name.
Xavier Tillman.
No. I know Xavier Tillman's good. I believe they have another guy. I'll think of the name later, but yeah, I just think the future for them is just looking so bright with those, 3 Langford, Winston, and Ward coming back for sure. I mean, this year is going to just improve that Michigan State team. I think what anybody's thinking about right now, because, I'm sure there's still just kind of the pain of having a rough season. I'm kind of dipping out of the tournament a little early, and that's kind of rough to get over at first. But I think once kind of the tournament's over, state fans will be real excited for what they're going to be putting on the floor next year.
Yeah. And I mean, I hope for the most part people had realistic expectations coming into the tournament. Because I mean, when according to plan to me, I hadn't picked to win one game after that, and I would have liked them to not end up getting beat by 20, but
yeah.
When you go against a team that talented that, could put in a lot more players that you could and a lot better athletes.
Yeah, that player I was thinking of is Jared Jackson.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
6'11", 225 out of Indianapolis.
Yeah. Yeah,
that'll be nice.
It'll be nice to have his size, and then, like I said, Tillman 6'8". Well.
Yeah.
He's more of a bigger body. He's 270, so
yeah, he's literally an animal.
Yeah. So it'll be nice to have those two play for what we didn't have this year. Mm-hmm. And we'll still have the senior presence of Gavin Schilling because it looks like he's probably going to go out of the red shirt. So we'll have some of the senior leadership that is on likes.
Just a quick question for you guys. Who do you guys think is a better player, Bridges or Josh Jackson?
That was one heck of a showdown they had going there, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like them two on each other, literally I was like, every time down the floor I hope they're shooting the ball. It was that good. As of right now, I would have to go with Jackson. I don't know. I feel like Bridges is still trying to figure himself a little bit. I don't think he's as good of a shooter as Jackson is. But around the rim, I'd take Bridges. I mean, it's just kind of what kind of an offensive player do you like to have? A guy that really attacking the rim or the guy that's a better shooter, right? I mean, you could really say either or, but personally, I would probably lean a little towards Jackson, but it's not very confident.
I would lean. He seems to have a little bit more of a polished game.
Mm-hmm.
Probably helped out a lot playing with such a stellar point guard.
Yeah,
for himself, like that already had that leadership ability and somebody he could learn from. But with Bridges, he seems to still be a little bit more of sometimes he's just going to try to out athlete you.
Yeah.
I guess I would say Jackson seems a little bit more refined right now. They both have really high ceilings. They both could be players. But right now, if I'm drafting one right now to put on my team, it would probably be Josh Jackson.
Okay. Just speaking of point guards, man. Yeah, State, they got a nice point guard too, man. Dude was making some phenomenal passes in that game.
Just Winston.
Yeah, against Kansas. So yeah, I look forward to seeing that guy again. Dude was money. Looks like they can definitely count on him. Now guys, just looking at the tournament, with all the teams that's still playing in it, like which team would you say is the hottest right now?
That's tough. I'd personally be looking at a couple Big Ten schools. Talking about Michigan and Wisconsin, to be quite honest. None of us had an 8-point halftime deficit and did it in a way we wouldn't have expected them to do it. They did it in the paint. They outscored Louisville in the paint. I would have never guessed that in about 100 years. I mean, coming off, they won 8 of their last 10 in the regular season, then won the Big Ten tournament, and then so they're definitely one of the hotter teams right now. And I think Wisconsin's going to take a lot of confidence coming off that win against Villanova. They're having a lot of people contribute. I believe before we got on, I was telling you guys I was very surprised Wisconsin won because Ethan Happ didn't play a lot of minutes. And usually if he plays well, then the team plays well and stepped up. So all the teams are starting to have somebody step up. And those are two of the hotter teams in the tournament right now. Probably Michigan being the hottest.
Yeah, I would agree on the Michigan side. Also, I would look over at South Carolina.
Yeah, I was about to mention that, man.
Yeah,
the second half was
true.
ridiculous.
They seem to be the second half team in the tournament. Yeah, they blew away Marquette and put Duke to rest too, and never really was in trouble against them. So I think they're scary. I think Baylor's happy that they're week between their last game, so maybe they've cooled off and won't be used to the rims in another area. Yeah, and if I just had to go, just basically who was a surprise and who's hot, coming as a 7 seed, knocking off that a lot of people were thinking might turn. I got to give them a lot of credit.
Yeah. All right, guys. Just any other thoughts on like last week's performances and whatnot before we start to break down these games?
Well, just to go back to something that Ty brought up, we spoke about it a little bit, but the Big Ten Conference, 3 teams should have been 4, or possibly should have been 4, going back to that Northwestern game. Team when really what do you think about this kind of does a little bit to show how good the teams were, even though nobody really the pile how good this conference was, and so everybody spoke volumes of the ACC now in Sweet 16. So I think that's interesting. I mean, I can't say that conference and them tournament time is one and done. So things happen, balls bounce certain ways, but and count out a conference just because you think they're having a down year, which a lot of people have said about the Big Ten. But Wisconsin they played well. They beat some good teams. The only the only school that was favored for both of their games was probably Purdue. Mm-hmm. I got to give them. I got to give my region some props.
Yeah. The only it's so hard to distinguish between good and a conference being beat. That was a 4. I believe they ended the regular season with only ranked teams. And Big Ten standards, that's not good. But then do you say, is it because nobody's really that good in the Big Ten? Or is it because everybody's beating each other up? Looks like it was because everybody was beating each other up. I don't think any of us will say that, the regular season has any credence on, mainly because anything can happen when it's a one and done scenario. And I think, a team that's kind of proving that right now is Xavier at an 11 seed. They're in the Sweet 16. And then, I believe Butler as well. I mean, Butler's a 4 seed and they were picked to finish 6th in the Big East Conference this year. So, I mean, in my opinion, I don't think that regular season very well. Because all we're doing at that point is judging by the numbers. You're going to look at a team that, went 30-1 over the course of the regular season, and they could lose in the second round of the tournament, just like a team that was 14. So, it was a tough regular season for the Big Ten Conference. A lot of teams beat each other. But at the end, I guess it only makes you strong when you come out of a conference where you have to grind almost every single night.
Yeah, if you're feeling battle tested, I mean, it makes you play with a lot less fear once it comes to the conference tournament. And
yeah,
I think that's just kind of a feeling coming out of the Big Ten. Just know the teams and coaches that you've had to play against the whole year. So anybody that you come up against.
Yeah, and I think a great example of that was Wisconsin and Michigan.
Yeah.
Just real quick, guys, just your thoughts. What were your thoughts when Indiana fired their coach, Tom Crean, I believe?
Tom Crean?
Yeah. What were your thoughts
Tom
on
Crean.
that?
A lot of Indiana fans are happy.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, this year was real rough. They were ranked number 3 at one point. Beat teams like Kansas and North Carolina, 2 number 1 seeds. So injuries kind of hurt them down the road. I know they lost James Blackman Jr. for a period of time. OG Anunoby had a season-ending injury. And I believe they had one more guy get hurt as well. But those are the breaks. It's the business. If you're not winning, you're not sticking around. That's college athletics. Well, really, that's coaching. That's coaching in general. If you're not winning,
get rid of the coach.
Be gone. Yeah, I mean, he's kind of the first year he's at, so kind of rough considering Sweet 16 last year. Like I said, the injuries. I mean, a lot of things kind of contributed to the season they had. But, I mean, you lose to Indiana, Purdue, Fort Wayne, 12th or 13th in the Big Ten Conference. You're not going to be happy about that. And you have to know that athletic director is under some heat. So, I get the firing. I don't know that it's completely validated, but hot seat practically since day one. So, he's lasted this long.
Yeah, I think this basically comes down to this was a coach that was just not liked. Like it just seemed like a bad marriage even though he had done more for the school than had almost decade before. He took them to 2 or 3 Sweet 16s, and they had been to the Sweet 16 once in the last 10 years before. Wasn't doing a terrible job. And like you said, Todd, this season was a wash because they had a lot of injuries. Lost big play, like you said, and Nobi was for the season. They lost Blackman for a long period of time, and I can't remember the other one, but I believe it was another season and injury for them. So they didn't
Hartman or something like that.
They didn't have the talent to compete after that, and but it just seems like the chips fell where President AD probably saw this was their chance to get rid of, because the record can speak for itself, even if it was due to losing a bunch of talent. Because if they would have had another season where they played reasonably well, got to the second weekend of the tournament, it would have been hard to fire. Mm-hmm. All the fans were calling for his head. So this was their shot to do it. They let him go. They had their press conference. Looks like they're going after Alford from UCLA. Yep. A Hoosier alum in there to try to change things around. In the end, they're one of those that, they live and die on the past greatness that they've had, even though it's been a long time since they were deep in the tournament, let alone win a natty. So it's just one of those places where they expect greatness, even though their time may have passed. Like I heard a good comparison, and like they're basically like Nebraska's football team. Just they still have a fan base that is like we're up there with the Kentuckys and UNCs and Dukes and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, no, you're not. Like nobody cares about Indiana right now. Like you just have to understand that. I don't care what coach you get there. You got to earn your way back up there. You're not going to just tell a kid come play for the Hoosiers and they go, oh, okay. It's just not happening with them right now. So
yeah, unless you're from Indiana, where that would be probably your best pick. It's not really happening.
I was going to say that's still not happening. They didn't get Caleb Swanigan.
No,
they didn't get. Yeah,
sure.
They didn't get. Michigan got him. Glenn Robinson III.
Oh, Robinson. Irvin too, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Just going through the last few years, those Mr. Basketballs in Indiana, none of them have gone to Indiana. They picked Purdue. They picked Michigan State. They picked Michigan.
And I guess what I meant by that is like a kid from Indiana come play for the Hoosiers is going to be your best. Yeah. I mean, you're not going to go into some of these other states, your top players, because you're Indiana. They're the poser at the party that everybody knows they're posing.
Because I mean, and just I don't mean to pile up on the Hoosiers, but I mean, right now they're the 4th best team in their state. Yeah. Butler's better than them. Notre Dame is better than them. Purdue is better than them.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I will say this though: if they land Steve Alford, I actually think they have a pretty good chance at landing him. They'll get some recruits back because of what he's done at UCLA. I think they'll land a couple big recruits if they get Alford.
You think that they pull him even though he probably knows he gets a ball on his team every year or so, every year or two?
Yeah. If he's seen tape on how LaMelo plays defense, yeah. But in all seriousness, I mean, think about it. He's making about $2 million at UCLA. He'll make about $4 in Indiana. They can pay him.
Yeah, true.
I mean, as that UCLA job's kind of setting up for the next few years. If he wants his turn to make some big cash, this is it. So,
Doctor of UCLA offers him a big,
at least a matching offer. Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
They got some history behind it. There's an award named after their greatest coach. So
one of their alum is the NBA's all-time leading scorer.
So they have some credit. So
I still just think that they have a really good chance of getting him. What it would take is matching, if not paying more than Indiana's willing. What it would take.
Yeah, I mean, going home can be a blessing. It can be a curse. It's just
how
you're going to feel about it. And where he's basically going to, if he has a losing season, a target's going to be on his back. They'll roll out the red carpet for him to come there. But the couple seasons where he finishes with 16 and 17 wins and misses a tournament for a couple.
Yeah. Yeah, and if they can't get Steve Alford, the other name floating around is Greg Marshall from Wichita State. He needs to make a jump to a bigger program, personally. Yeah. I mean, he's been doing it at that mid-major level for a few years now. I think it's just time for him to take the leap. I think he'd be a really good coach.
And
go ahead.
Smart pick.
He's
Alford,
proven.
Yes. I guess they have an outside shot since he did graduate from MD, and he's making a name for himself. And the other name thrown around the pipe train, like Brad Stevens, is not leaving the Celtics to go coach Indiana.
Yeah. Second best team in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah,
I agree there. But the one thing, kind of oddly, that I'm hearing about Greg Marshall is that his wife's like a Looney Tune.
Yeah.
Like, legitimately saying that's reasons they have not hired him is because of his wife. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So I don't know. That would be absolutely crazy if that's true. That's what I've been hearing.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, guys. You guys ready to break these Sweet 16 games down?
Let's do it.
All right, about to start off with the East first. The first game we're about to get into is Wisconsin versus Florida. What do you guys think about this matchup?
And it's like we're getting now to the point where we shouldn't get too many games where the outcome's decided by more than 3 to 7 points. So how all these games should basically be coin flips. I think I'd be leaning with the Badgers, just they seem to be playing really well, good basketball right now. The Gators aren't a slouch. Both teams are that's coming up here. You got, Allen from Purdue, who's had a good year, averaging 13 a game. You got, was it Koenig? How you pronounce it?
Brunson.
Doing well. And then, it's going to be a pace game, but I think I'm going to Badgers.
Yeah, I think it'll be a slower pace game because I think Wisconsin's going to control the pace of the game. Florida, I think obviously is going to want to run if they can. I think Nigel Hayes coming off arguably his best game of the year. Ethan Happ, 10. Bronson Koenig is just known for making big plays when you need them. He's a senior, proven. He's played in the finals. He's not scared of this. I also like Wisconsin. They play good defense. They don't foul a lot. They make free throws. Wisconsin.
All right, guys. Now, what about Baylor versus South Carolina?
I think this one will be a lot of fun.
Yeah, Darnell, you had Baylor going pretty far, man. You think they could?
Four.
Yeah, you think they could beat this hot second half team in South Carolina?
Well, like I brought it up about Baylor. I feel the same. At least we got for them to cool off some and a new setting.
Yeah.
Because
home.
Yeah, I know. It's basically a home game, but yeah, I think it's at least good that they got a plan off of 2 days rest. They've had some time to kind of worry of them going further than anybody had South Carolina going. But I mean, I do still think that Baylor, they're probably the most athletically gifted team. So, I have to have purely the Motley show going on to keep them at bay. But yeah, I'll still stick with my pick. I got them going to the Final Four, so I got to stick.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you here again. I'm gonna go Baylor. Both times in the second half, it's basically taken a near perfect performance from South Carolina. I mean, I don't see them just playing up to that level. Again, like you said, change of venue. The second game of the tournament usually rides off the adrenaline of the first. So they were still kind of feeling a 20-point victory over Marquette. I mean, between knowing your season could potentially be over and riding off the momentum of a homish crowd, them against Duke, I mean, 70% shooting is also insane. So I don't see them shooting 70% in either half, let alone the game for the game. So I'll go with Baylor here. I think they'll be very athletic on both ends of the floor, very active. And I just think South Carolina's time is running up here.
Right. Okay, up next, we're about to get to the Midwest region. Game we're about to talk about now is Kansas versus Purdue. How do you guys feel about this
one? This is probably the one I'm looking most forward to in this round of 16. I want to see just the explosiveness of Kansas versus just the size that Purdue has. I want to see how this matchup goes to see if they play different stylistically to try to use their advantages. We get a lot of Swanigan, like on their part, probably causing some foul trouble for Kansas big men. That frantic, good shooting four guard that's on the floor for Kansas with Mason, Jackson leading the way, breaking teams down. I just really want to see how this one plays out. But I'm leaning Kansas. They are 1 seed. They're super talented. So if I have to pick them, I pick Kansas.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Kansas as well. Frank Mason's, in my opinion, player of the year. He's played well so far in the tournament. Josh Jackson has played well in the tournament. They're deep. They shoot the three well. They play inside well. Like you stated, I think if Landon Lucas gets into foul trouble for Kansas, that can pose some serious problems, especially with Haas and Swanigan. But Purdue also has the ability to play high and low. They have the ability to shoot three. I mean, I think this on paper matchup, next to UCLA and Kentucky, that'll be the one I'm looking forward to the most out of the Sweet 16. But this one is definitely a close second. Give me Kansas. I just think down the stretch they'll just have a little more in them. I expect it to be close though.
All right. Up next, we're about to go to the Tide Squad of Michigan. Will they be able to beat Oregon in their matchup?
I hope so.
All right.
I'm gonna pick them. They're hot right now. I don't know. I know they lost their big rim protector. Michigan's starting to do a lot of things in the paint, which is very uncharacteristic. They haven't shot they didn't shoot the three real well last round, which kind of makes me think new venue, find that stroke a little bit. They shot the three pretty well against Oklahoma State. It took them a little while to get it going, but second half Oklahoma State. I think DJ Wilson and Mo Wagner will have nice games. Derek Walton. My concern is going to be Dylan Brooks, who's going to guard him. Go Irvin on him, I guess. I don't really see them putting Mo Wagner on him. I think Mo would just get into foul trouble way too quick. I think Irvin can do a little better job staying with him. But he's my big concern. I think if Michigan just shoots the three, I win this game comfortably. I'm not saying they'll blow them out, but I think they can win by, more than 8 if they shoot the three really well. But they have to rebound. I mean, Louisville rebounded fairly well against Michigan. I believe they out-rebounded them. Is why I'm surprised Michigan did better in the paint than they did offensively, but I don't know, Michigan's rolling and they're hot and they're playing really well as a team. So I'm hoping it goes one more round at least. So I'll take Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, not a bad pick. Michigan. Just a different team over the last month, month and a half. They're not the seed that they're playing like they're on that 2 line. And they're favoring this game, so they are coming in hot to keeping Wilson and Wagner on the court. If Brooks is able to break them down and cause some foul trouble on those big men, then it could be a long day for Michigan. They'll have to heavily rely on three. So I think they showed some of Louisville being able to fight through and do some things with their bigs. DJ Wilson and Wagner, they were getting to the rack. Like they didn't have to be your traditional bigs back and beat down. They were giving the move and getting to the rack. I think they need to have that balance to be able to do that. If they get back to relying on that three, Oregon, yes, they did lose a rim protector, like you said, but they're still an athletic team, man.
They'll play good defense.
Well, yeah. So there's going to have to be some balance in Michigan's game in this. So I'll just be devil's advocate just because of who I am. I'll
keep it interesting. and I'll tell you, I had Louisville in the Elite Eight. So if I had the winner of that Rhode Island Oregon game, going to the Elite Eight, I'd be sticking with them. Like, I'm just gonna throw that disclaimer out there. But the fact that Louisville's not in it anymore gives me all the right to pick Michigan. So wins this one, I might just pick them to beat Kansas. So, so we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Time will
but
tell.
I agree with you, Darnell. There has to be the balance. You don't make it this far being one-dimensional. You figured out if you're one-dimensional this far into the tournament. So, and like you said, there's been a week for teams to prepare. They're all watching film, a week-long cram session. So, you need to guard the perimeter, but watch the inside. So it'll be interesting to see how Oregon comes out defensively and tries to guard Michigan. And it'll be interesting to see what Beilein finds on film for Oregon defensively and what he draws up. Because whatever he was drawing up in the second half against Louisville was.
Yeah.
All right, up next, we're about to get into the West. First game we're about to get into for the West is Gonzaga versus West Virginia.
This is one where I'm not sure about as far as how I have it picked on the bracket. I've seen both teams play. I do have Gonzaga getting past some on my bracket, but I'm wondering how they're going to be able to deal with this press and whether it will get to them. I mean, my heart's saying stick with what you picked, but my head is kind of going, I think West Virginia might take it down.
Yeah, you say one thing, your head's telling you another. Well, both of mine are saying the same thing, and I picked West Virginia to beat them. So give me press Virginia a little bit, because sometimes offensively they're not all there. But I think their defensive intensity is going to cause fits for Gonzaga. Virginia has an average offensive day. I think they'll be fine. I mean, they cause big fits for Notre Dame, who protects the ball very well, and they were turning it over left and right. So it'll be real interesting to see what Gonzaga draws up against that press. West Virginia's probably drawing up a brand new press to run. I mean, we'll see what they come out with as well. But I like West Virginia here.
All right. How do you guys feel about Xavier versus Arizona?
I don't.
Xavier. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't think there's going to be a ton to talk about on this one. Personally, I just like Arizona really big here. I'm not saying 30 points or anything like that, but I think they'll win this one by more than 10. I just think this is one of the few matchups you get this far in where one team is just, I don't want to say you don't get to this point on a fluke, but I think Arizona is just on another level than Xavier is. So yeah, I'm gonna go Arizona here by more than
10. Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you here. This is the one game I think that has a chance to have a double digit outcome. Just since they got to full strength, they've just been a tough team for anybody to deal with. And I think that continues. I just think they have a little too much for a squad like Xavier. And Xavier's played through this tournament, but I don't think they have enough to really do anything.
Yeah, I completely agree. I felt really good picking Xavier in the first round over Maryland, and then saw Xavier play it all this year. They always play Villanova real tough. They always play Butler real tough. So they can hang. They're no slouch team. That's for sure.
All right, finally about to move to the South region. About to get into UNC versus Butler.
I like North Carolina here. I'm sure Darnell's going to follow me up on that one. Their size, I think, is going to be a little too much for Butler to handle. Kennedy Meeks, not Josh Jackson, Justin Jackson. I guess really, I think they just have a little too much firepower here. They rebound the ball very well, and I think Arkansas gave them enough of a scare for them to clean it up a little bit, because they let Arkansas walk back into that game. Kind of a wake call. They get a week rest. I think that was kind of a wake up call for them. I think this game could be a little closer than we think, but I do like North Carolina.
Yeah, too big, too athletic in this one. Like, well, they play smart. They have probably a more athletic team that they've ever had. I don't think they let the game get out of hand, but I don't think UNC is ever in real danger once it gets late.
Yeah, the one thing I like about Butler is they have good guard play. They really protect the ball. They play smart on offense, smart on defense, and I think that'll keep them around for a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if this one is within 10 points, but I also wouldn't be surprised if North Carolina wins by 10 or 15. So this one could go either way. How much they win by, it could be closer, it could be big. I know wins it either way.
Yeah. Okay, now this one's the one I really want to see out of all the Sweet 16 games. UCLA versus Kentucky. How do you guys feel about this matchup?
Very intriguing. I really like both of these schools. I've said good things about them all year. The knock on UCLA is their defense isn't that great. The knock on Kentucky is they're just young. I think it'll be interesting to see how each team settles into this game. Intensity is going to be real high. Dumb, to think that Kentucky does Lonzo Ball and shut LeVar Ball up. You could the ball, man. I like Kentucky in this game. I think they're a little defensively. It'll be interesting to see how UCLA matches up on Bam Adebayo. I think it'll be great to watch Ball guard Malik Monk. I hope that's who guards Malik Monk. I think Malik Monk could tear him up on defense, but I also think Ball could tear up Monk on defense. So that could be another fun little one-on-one matchup that we get to watch this coming weekend for sure. But I like Kentucky here just because I believe them to be a better defensive team. If it comes down to stretch and you need defensive stops, I'd get defensive stops. UCLA get a defensive stop. So just for that alone, I'll take Kentucky, and also the fact that Calipari's been here more than Steve Alford has. So I'll take the experienced coach.
Yeah, it's a pretty good breakdown, but I'm going with the Bruins in this one.
Yeah, I could personally see this one going either way.
As I'm also very interested in just seeing some of these matchups, going back and forth. Monk more so just pure scoring side, but Ball's going to do a little bit of everything. He's going to get some shot. He's going to get other foul. See if him and Leaf can have their connection going, even against a little bit better defensive team, like you said. But I think they'll still be able to get up and down the court and put up points and keep Kentucky at bay. So I'm still going to.
Okay, guys. Covered it all. Is there anything else you guys would like to add?
No, I think we covered quite a bit tonight.
Yeah. You got anything else to add, Darnell?
Nah, just forward to tomorrow night.
Yeah. Well, just real fast, Trey. You don't have to give much explanation. But who do you got winning them?
Out of these games?
Yeah. You can just go straight down the list and give a winner.
All right. Let me pull them up. Wisconsin,
you
Florida.
You usually hop in on these.
Okay, Wisconsin, Florida. I got Wisconsin. Baylor, South Carolina. I'm going with South Carolina. Kansas, Purdue. I'm going Kansas. Rock with your guys, Michigan, Tyler, and Oregon versus Michigan. Gonzaga versus West Virginia. I got Gonzaga. Xavier versus Arizona. I'm pulling for the underdog, so I'm going with Xavier. UNC versus Butler. I have UNC, and UCLA versus Kentucky. I'm going to go with UCLA on this one. So,
really? You not been
Hey, I had them. I had them in the championship game, man. So I'm kind of gonna stick with my bracket on that one. So I'm gonna go with UC. I was because I had Wichita State beating Kentucky. It was a close game, but
you almost had it.
Almost had it, man. But they couldn't get together.
For everybody who bought a ticket for the second round games in Indianapolis, definitely got their money's worth.
Oh yeah.
You get that Michigan Louisville game first, followed up by that Wichita Kentucky game.
Yeah. That was good. But yeah, guys, other than that, anything else to add?
No.
Right. All right, guys, I appreciate you guys checking us out as always. You can find us on Twitter at DKM_cast. You can also find this podcast on SoundCloud, YouTube, Stitcher, iTunes. Just hit us up in that search engine. But like I said, as always, guys, appreciate y'all for checking us out, and just can't wait to check out some more NCAA basketball. Definitely the best time of the year when it comes to sports. Peace out.